Hmm. That's super interesting, and worth thinking about. And the next objection we have to like the goodness of Christianity is what, at least in like sophisticated circles, is called like the moral meager fruits argument, where it's the idea of like, well, Christians just end up acting like everyone else, and like supposedly like if a Christian like you or I can has this like full revelation from God, we
Yeah.
should be significantly like morally superior to like other people, maybe doing things right more or something along these lines. But like time and time again, we see like the moral failings of Christians, like like celebrity pastors, or like the failings of like Ravi Zacharias, or like all these things. And there's these terrible things that happen. And they're supposedly Christian. So like, what's going on here if like Christianity is true? So how would you respond to this kind of like objection to the Christian faith?
Well, the first thing I'd want to say is remember that the Bible says that all people are fallen. We're all made in the image of God. We have inherent dignity and moral worth. But the Bible says that something has catastrophically gone wrong with the human race. The
Mm-hmm.
Bible describes it as original sin, as the fall. So if the Bible is true, we should be able to see that human beings have moral flaws. So if you're going to turn around and say, well, look, Christians are flawed, remember the Bible says that all people are flawed. And I might turn to my non Christian friend and say, what about you? Uh, do you suffer from flaws? Do you suffer, for example, from selfishness, pride, egotism? I think I would also add, Zach, that you have to remember too many of the great things that Christianity has brought forward through individuals. I mean, you look at somebody like Mother Teresa, who sacrifices her entire life, commits herself to going to India to care for children that are very ill and very sick, caring for the dying. You think of movements like the abolition of slavery, both in Europe and in America. Most of the people who objected to slavery held Christian convictions. Now, let me speak to the question of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is never a good thing. I can't defend what Ravi Zacharias did. I can't defend pastors who embezzle money, or even worse, are involved in physical or sexual harm of other people. All of that is contrary to the teaching of Christ. But I would say that that is a very small minority. I mean, I know hundreds of pastors, ministers, scholars. Zach, the vast majority of them are very dedicated. They're not perfect, but they're sacrificial. They give. They're not looking to get wealthy. They don't care about being famous. They want to help God's people. They want to extend God's kingdom. And I guess maybe a further point, Zach, is yeah, hypocrisy is problematic, but Jesus was no hypocrite. That is, the truth of Christianity rests upon the person of Jesus Christ. And here you have somebody who is the total opposite of a hypocrite. I mean, Jesus lives an extraordinary life. Even people who are against him, who oppose him, they can't find flaw in him. Pontius Pilate says, I find no reason to charge this man. Jesus says to his family members and to the religious leaders of the time, who of you can point to a fault in me? I think the reason that Jesus is the most consequential person who has ever lived on planet Earth is because he seems to be beyond the flaws of human beings. Here's another quote from Houston Smith, again, not necessarily a Christian. He said the difference between Jesus is not that he preached the Sermon on the Mount, but he appears to have lived the moral values contained in that sermon. I would say, look, if you're around Zach and you're around Ken Samples, you're going to see flaws in us. You're going to see imperfections in us. We may let you down, but I have a promise. Jesus Christ will never let you down. And the real question of the truth of Christianity is whether he is a hypocrite, and there is no sign of hypocrisy in the person of Jesus Christ.